Good morning, India. Good evening in California, and good bedtime in the East Coast. Welcome you all. My name is Raman Anamaraju, MedBricks webcast host. So this is today is a kind of a little special. I'm playing a video of one of the futuristic medicine video. You must watch it. If you are a physician, you must watch it. It really what is laid down in the front of us in the future for the physicians. So, you know, I'm a great follower of Plato. Believe Plato is a Greek philosopher. Plato, I believe he is a modern Bhagavad Gita's interpreter. Lord Krishna Bhagavad Gita interpretation. He gave a westernized interpretation of Bhagavad Gita. He so that is the one. You don't see I'm blocking him. So I'm going to apply what he says is that there are two worlds, physical world and ideal world. Physical world is not real. Ideal world is real. Physical world is merely a shadow or illusion. That's what he says. If you apply that thing into the healthcare, I'm going to give you some. How do you apply to the healthcare? Just apply it as a physicist. So, ideal physical world is, in his point of view, doctors, nurses, healthcare professionals, health hospitals, clinics, and health plans. All of them are physical, belong to the physical world. Ideal worlds are highest principles of humanity. For example, taking care of sick, understanding the pain. These are all the ideal principles. What he says is ideal world is real. The physical world is simply shadows of the ideal world, so they're not real. However, saying they're real. So the thing that the physical world should do is serve the principles of ideal world. They're time unchanging, is a timeless, ageless principles. They are universal principles. You can't change them for the humanity. So physical world should serve the ideal world, not other way around. He compares that to a object in the mirror is telling how the subject should move. This is unfortunately what is happening. All the other companies is telling what the ideal principle should be, what the care principle should be. Physical world cannot dictate what the care principles are. They are fundamental to humanity, taking care of sick, understanding the pain, those kind of things is cannot that is must be that must cannot change. You cannot redefine them. Physical world merely has to support them. If you do that, things fall in place beautifully. So there is a new thing is you need to watch. I is a Dr. Vivek Wadhwa. I'm going to introduce you. He is a I'm not I want him to come on my video one day. He's on my studio one day. But he's a very distinguished professor of Carnegie Mellon University, and he's a professor of Singularity University in Silicon Valley. And then he is a frequent columnist for the Washington Post and several Silicon Valley magazines. He's very well respected. I know him as a friend. I invited him for the couple of festivals to Silicon Valley Festival one time, Festival of Globe. So he has written several books. I think you must listen to him. I'm going to play his video that he did recently for one of the conferences. It's very important. Thank you, Dr. Wadhwa. Thank you for allowing me to share this video with my friends and the audience. Thank you, sir. And I wish that you will come one day on my show. And then thank you all. Just watch this video. It is really, I want your opinion. I want your input back. Thank you so much. Please stay on the line, and you'll see I'm playing the video right now.
While we were backstage, I was talking to Sharath, and I learned that he's not even on social media. What that made me realize is that you folks live in a different world than most of us do. You're so down in the weeds, building the foundation, that you don't realize the power of your technologies. You don't understand the power of exponentials. You don't realize the impact of what you're building. So in the next 20 minutes, I'm going to give you a crash course in the future and tell you what is going on and how amazing these advances are. First of all, this chart over here shows you some exponentials. This is how technology is advancing. It took thousands of years from agriculture to pottery to the plow to mathematics to the peak of Rome. The last 100 years, we've had advance after advance after advance. It isn't just viruses that advance exponentially. It is computing and everything computing touches. Now, this is the world you live in, semiconductors and computers. You're familiar with how Moore's law has or has not been functioning, and you've been making a lot of amazing things happen in this world of exponentials. But this is Ray Kurzweil's depiction of technologies. What he predicted was that by 2010, a $1,000 processor would have the computing power of a mouse brain. By 2020s, sometime this decade, these $1,000 processors, your smartphones, will have the same computing power as a human brain. By 2050, the same device, $1,000 device, has the same computing power as all of humanity combined. This is how computing is advancing. And again, this is what you folks are making possible without realizing it. You're so far down in the weeds, disconnected from social media, that you don't get it. All right? So, and it's not only computing, it is everything that computing. Sharad, I'm going to know you as a guy who's not on social media now. That's how I'm going to remember you. All right. So it is everything computing touches that advances exponentially. AI, robotics, 3D printing. I'm going to show you some examples of it and illustrate what exponentials mean, because that's the best way of understanding it. Next video is something I used to dream about when I was young.
Hello, I'd like to rent a maid.
Rosie!
Coming, sir. Here I am, sir. Here it goes.
R2-D2, a pleasure to meet you. I am C3PO Human-Cyborg Relations. I beg your pardon, but what do you mean, naked? My parts are showing. My goodness.
So I don't know about you guys, but I used to dream about having Rosie cleaning up after me when I was young, and that I would have, 3CPU and R2-D2 as my buddies, right? We grew up, and here's what we got. And this is why we're so pessimistic about technology, but we don't understand exponentials. These are the most advanced robots in the DARPA challenge of 2015. This was such a clown show that DARPA discontinued the robotics challenge. Right. Now I'm going to take you to my school. I actually stopped teaching recently because I got fed up of all this Zoom teaching and stuff like that. I thought, let's go out and start some companies, on my own. So I'm not teaching anymore. But at my school, CMU, I'm going to take you back there and show you the progress of robotics to illustrate what exponentials mean. A series of videos. The first video is 20 years of progress. Big deal, 20 years later. The founders of the Leg Lab at CMU left and started a company called Boston Dynamics. Here's what they did in 6 years after leaving. It's pretty good. Now watch what happened in 4 years. Now that is impressive. Next, watch what happened in 2 years. My advice, don't do that to your robot because they're going to get their revenge. No one screws with him. All right, so that, and now watch what happened in 1 year. You get the idea? And now. That's the next chapter. That's what happens when you beat up your robots. They remember. All right, so Rosie is coming. And she's going to bring some new problems with her. I'm going to get back to that in a second. But within this decade, we will have robots like what we saw in science fiction. They're coming. I don't think Elon is going to deliver on his promise because he's full of nonsense. But many other companies will deliver on humanoid robots, which will be like what we saw in science fiction within the next 10 years or so, give or take. And then medicine. I don't know if you realize it or not, but Apple is now a medical device company. I mean, who would have thought that this geekiest company in the world would now be in the medical business? The Apple Watch is a medical device. They're rolling out feature after feature. After testing it, they're being very cautious, as Apple always is. However, Apple will soon be monitoring everything about your lives, just like they monitor everything that happens on your phones. Apple is now in a multi-trillion-dollar business because that's where the money is. Medicine, health is where the money is, not in technology. Next step, we won't need iPhone cases or watches. We're going to have epidermal electronics. We're going to essentially have tattoos on our skin, embedded within our bodies, in our clothing, that monitor us 24/7. Right? We are gathering data on a massive scale, unimaginable before. Your smartphones, these things in your pocket, are the envy of Big Brother. If you remember Big Brother from the 1984, the book 1984, Big Brother would dream about having a device that everyone voluntarily carried with them to the bathroom, that they would check when they wake, when they sleep, because this device is able to monitor everything about you. It knows your habits, your lifestyles, it knows your relationships, it knows your emotions, it monitors your heart, it knows your health status better than your doctors do. So this is gathering data on an unprecedented scale. And what do you do with data? You analyze it using AI. Which means that in the next 5 years or less, not 10 years, in the next 5 years or less, in most fields of medicine, AI will exceed the capabilities of human doctors. An AI system will be able to diagnose your health better than a doctor can. Why? Because an AI is looking at comprehensive data. When you go to a doctor, the doctor asks you some stupid questions, puts a stethoscope on your thing, and then makes a life or death decision and prescribes all these dangerous medicines to you. Right? 7 minutes is a typical consultation. What data did the doctor look at? Some handwritten notes that no one can read. That's what your life-altering decisions were based on. What's an AI going to do? It's going to look at all the data that Apple gives it and make intelligent decisions. And it's also going to market all sorts of new drugs to you, but that's a different story. That's the name of the game in the tech world. And then with data, we will soon cure every disease. Because if you think about it, guess how many symptoms there are. How many ways can you be sick? There are about 300 to 400 symptoms. So you have a headache, you have a stomach ache, you have a foot ache, you have a backache, you have gas, you have this. Just think about it, all of the problems you could possibly have. There are about 300 or 400 symptoms. And do you know how many diseases there are altogether since the beginning of humankind? Less than 6,000. Somewhere between 4,000 and 6,000 diseases since the beginning of humanity. And then if you look at the genes and the proteins, You're talking about small amounts of data, about 150,000 connections between all of this stuff. And you combine it with all the data that Apple and the tech industry is gathering, and you begin to realize that we will now be able to find the correlations between our health, our habits, our lifestyles, our genes, our proteins, and the diseases we get. It's an AI data problem. Soon we will cure almost every disease. And then what happens? Moving forward to the end of this decade, roughly 2030 or so, sequencing will be as common as blood tests. DNA sequencing will cost nothing. We'll have iPhone cases that do full human genomic sequences. We will download and print custom-designed medicines, tissues, and bacteria. We're going to be able to 3D print this stuff. We'll be able to 3D print polypills for our health. And then we're all going to be biohackers, just like we're all now tech specialists, where if the people who are on Twitter, they're experts in everything from Ukraine to COVID to God knows what else. We're all going to be biohackers and geneticists. We're going to understand how genes work, and we're going to want to fix them. This is all coming. And then with gene editing, the question is, where do we draw the line? We'll now be able to improve our vision. We'll be able to now choose the color of our skin, our hair, our children's hair. These are the debates we're going to be having in about a decade or so. Where do we draw the line? And then bionic enhancements. These are all yesterday's technologies. These are 5-year-old, 10-year-old technologies which enhance human beings. I don't know about you. Some of you are pretty old like I am, but most of you are, most of you are old like I am. A few young people. So you probably remember this.
Austin, astronaut, a man barely alive. Gentlemen, we can rebuild him. We have the technology. We have the capability to make the world's first bionic man. Steve Austin will be that man. Better than he was before. Better, stronger, faster.
Steve Austin will be a reality in about a decade or so. And Steve Austin won't be the $6 million man, he'll be the $6,000 man in $1975, which means about $500,000 by the time you get the ability to have bionic enhancements, because technology gets faster, smaller, and cheaper, thanks to the work you folks are doing. And then what happens? We're talking about artificial organs, we're talking about smart prostheses, we're talking about genetic engineering. All of these things become possible. We're talking about, this is another thing Elon Musk has been working on, fumbling with it, but it's happening. Brain interfaces. So the question then becomes, when does a human become a machine? In a decade, we're going to be having these discussions, because all of these things will become possible. And then it's not only the robots, it's also AI that begins to take over human jobs. So you folks are, again, in the weeds, you're safe. But the vast majority of jobs are going to be in serious trouble, because between the AIs and the robots, they'll be able to do better the jobs than we can. Now, I need to correct myself a little bit over here. Not every job is at risk. You get the idea? No comment over here. This is a G-rated event. And then self-driving cars, flying cars, drones, killer drones, they're all coming. They're all coming within the next decade. Uber will have a flying car service. Even though it abandoned the one it had before, you will have robo-taxis that will fly and take you from one point to the other, except they're going to be drone-based, not cars like we've imagined before, because drones are becoming that highly capable. Now let's talk about saving the world and about humanity's grand challenges. We will be able to solve the grand challenges of humanity themselves. One of the biggest problems we have is energy. We're fortunate in America to have all the energy we need, but if you go to the developing world, when children come home, they don't have light. Right? We're running out of energy. Right now, there are wars being fought over petroleum. This is a map of the energy reserves of our planet. That that little ball over there is petroleum. That's what we're fighting about right now. That's what's bankrupting countries. This big ball over here is sunlight. We get more than 1,000 times more sunlight every day than the entire planet consumes in a year. The problem is we haven't been able to harness it so far. But guess what? Clean energy, solar, wind are on exponential paths. The price drops about 10 to 20% every year. Installations double. Installations double, price drops. It's a virtuous cycle. Renewables are reaching tipping points. Within 5 years or less, it will not make sense for us to be buying energy from our utilities because it'll be cheaper to have solar panels and to be harnessing energy directly from sunlight. I wrote this piece in 2014 that we're headed to an era of unlimited clean and almost free energy. We're exceeding everything I said in this article, not going behind it. By 2030, it'll be as cheap to have energy as it is to make phone calls to anywhere in the world. Right? Video conferencing is free now. You just need the device. It's the same thing with solar. Once you get the solar panels, unlimited energy for this entire planet. Unstoppable force. Electric storage is also not getting left behind, also on an exponential path, which means self-driving electric vehicles are our future. And then food. Well, all these impossible burgers and all these 3D printed, meats. Within 5 years, we're going to cross the threshold in which it's going to be cheaper to 3D print synthetically produced meat than to kill animals. That's happening. Vertical farms are happening. The most expensive component of vertical farms right now is the energy. What happens when the cost of energy drops to zero? It becomes cheaper to grow farms to food in buildings with LED lights than it is to grow them horizontally and pump them with chemicals and pesticides. So these are coming. And then this is a project I'm personally involved with right now. This is one of my key projects to launch the next green revolution. This is how Mother Nature protects its flora, through lightning. Lightning is the fourth state of matter. When lightning goes through air and oxygen, air and water, it adds a molecule to the water, H2O becomes H2O2, and it adds nitrates to it. So what are nitrates? Fertilizer. So this is a technology which I invested in a decade ago, which would convert water into plasma back into water. Last 3 years, the scientists discovered that they could generate plasma-activated water with it for almost no cost at all. A device that will cost about $10,000 or $15,000 that uses less than 1,000 watts of energy produces unlimited plasma-activated water. We've been testing this in the farms in Florida, in Texas. The results are mind-blowing. I mean, just by washing seeds with plasma-activated water, the plants grow healthier, stronger. You wash the fruits and vegetables with it, they don't get the botrytis, the disease that's common with produce. All sorts of amazing results. Next, I'm taking it to India. I was just in India meeting with Anand Mahindra and Ratan Tata's team. We're talking about now letting India be the center of the next green revolution, organic agriculture. Because this is the magic that happens, that literally we're turning crops into super crops with this magic water. And then we're also able to remove the need for pesticides and chemicals, because when you simply wash the plants with this plasma-activated water, it kills the bacteria and viruses on them. And the plants grow much healthier. It's like a vaccine which, when given to a human being, the vaccine causes our defenses to strengthen and then to fight. That's exactly what happens with plasma-activated water. So that's what I'm working on. This is why I said, screw this, teaching. The universities, I can do much more good by going out in the world and working on these technologies. So this is going to be in India in the next year. We're going to have it in dozens of places, manufacturing it there and taking it worldwide. That's what the plan is. All right, so some reading for you. Driving the Driverless Car talks about the basic advances, and it talks about the ethical issues of technologies, the good, bad, and the ugly of advancing technologies. Incremental to exponential is how you build trillion-dollar businesses. I'm sure a lot of you now are thinking about doing something else once you have made your fortunes. Start a company. The book teaches you about how and why we have trillion-dollar companies now. So, and incremental to exponential, I think they're going to be giving everyone a copy of it. My hand is almost broken from signing 100 copies. So grab one before you leave. Thank you, everyone.
We are retelling their stories through our patented designs that can be worn on scrubs, t-shirts, printed on conference bags, and endless other promotional materials. Daily Wear for Medicine is the first ever of its kind to create curiosity in medicine through visual art. We at MedBricks are celebrating unsung heroes of the past who made enormous contributions to the field of medicine through our unique campaign called Daily Wear for Medicine. You can wear it, carry it, and give it